sorry, this particular one is going to be, I'll have a 0 fret and 24-inch scale length. Oh, is it a 24-inch scale length? Or was I going to do this one a little shorter? I'm playing around with scale lengths at the moment. No, this one's 22.5. So this is quite a short scale length for me, for the builds that I do. So what I'm doing, so you can see, I'll drop it down onto this slightly lower shelf so you can see what I'm doing. So that's the box there. Let's put the box somewhere safe. All right, so what I'm doing, I've got my measurement here, and I've got, funnily enough, I do everything in millimeters, but when I judge people's height, it's always in feet and inches. And when I do scale length on a guitar, it's usually, I understand inches, like 25.5 inch. I understand that a little bit more. I don't know. It's probably a spatial awareness thing. This is going to be a little shorter. Now, the cool thing is, you could basically fret any guitar at any scale length that you want using the Stu Mac or the Stuart McDonald fret calculator. Okay, it's easy to find online. It's free. So just type in Stuart McDonald fret calculator or Stu Mac fret calculator. Now, for this, to get the incremental measurements, I'm actually going to have to use, which is the opposite of what I just said, millimeters, because I will do my fine measurements in millimeters for this particular guitar. So if I go to, this is probably, how many you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to do the imperial, and I'm a metric guy. Okay, so bear with me. Here we go. So what are these increments here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, well, you've got tenths. Okay, so it's, I don't know, 1/10, 24.1 inches. I don't know. I'm a metric guy. I'm going to flip. Going to the metric, guys. Going to millimeters here. All right. I've got a nice space here. I've got a good spot there on my fretboard. It's going to be 575 millimeters in length. I'm going to have a stop tail piece on this guitar. So what I will basically do is I'll go to the Stuart McDonald fret calculator. You can choose imperial, or like inches, for example, or metric in millimeters. All you do is you choose on the fret, the fret calculator which type of measurement you would like to do. I like to use millimeters. Obviously, I'm used to it when I'm doing the finer details, like fret spacing. What I will then do is I will type in 575 millimeters into the calculator. I will choose electric guitar as the type of instrument that I'm getting the frets for, and then it will actually work out the millimeters, for example, because I only deal in millimeters when it comes to that, to 3 decimal places. So, for example, if one of the measurements was, for example, 30, let's say 30.647 millimeters, right? Let's just say that. Let's say it's 30.647 millimeters. I'm as blind as a bat. I wear these glasses for a reason. I'm not going to be able to work out 0.647 of a millimeter, but I do look at it and I just basically, I either scale up or I scale down to the closest. So if I look at that and I think, okay, well, that's 30. I know I've got my 0.5 millimeter increments on this particular ruler. So I'll look at that and I'll say, well, that 30.6 Well, it's just under 31 millimeters. So I could do that, or I could go to 30 and look at my half. I'll go, okay, here's my 30 millimeters. I know that half a millimeter there, which is tiny, tiny. Because my pencil marking, for example, is going to be probably thicker than a millimeter or half a millimeter anyway. So don't get overly worried about that, right? So I've only got my phone down here recording. So normally I'd have my phone out and I would work out these increments. You can see I've already got a ruler here with the increments for 650 millimeters, which is 25.5 inches. And on this other ruler I've got over here, I have also got measurements on this green ruler here for 610 millimeters, which is 24. They're the two scale lengths I usually use. The reason I went shorter on this, it's not because I was running out of timber. The reason I went shorter on this is because this is a really little box. And I think if I had, here we go. If I had a neck this long, right, on this tiny little box, well, it's out of proportion, isn't it? Even there, which is because that's 25. If I was using this particular box and wanted to do 25 millimeters, you can see how long that neck's going to be. It's been crazy long. You don't want it to be that long. So as it is, when this guitar is made, this is going to have about 23-inch scale length, which, if you can see that, I think that's pretty functional. I think that's a nice size. I'll play around with the gauge, what type of gauge I'm going to use, or the tuning. What I might end up doing is tuning it to G would be fine, but I might just use a slightly heavier set of strings. And this is going to be acoustic, so this won't actually have a magnetic pickup, so I don't have to worry about that so much. It will have, okay, because you can actually see, if I rest this just on the back of the box, you can actually see it's going to have that neck dive. It's going to have that down angle, which is going to increase the height over the bridge. Passing on, thank you Del Puckett for showing me on your videos how to do that. I love doing that. I will be using a 0 fret on this guitar. That's something else I learned from Del Puckett. But I will be using a guiding nut because I like the way it finishes off. So, you know, you might be looking at me and you might be looking at these videos if you're a beginner or intermediate or whatever, and you might be looking at my videos to say, you know, to learn how to build a cigar box guitar. And my suggestion is always, like, don't just look at my channel. Like, look at Del Puckett's channel, look at Shane Spiel, go and check out Chicken Bone John. Miku, I just looked at Miku's stuff. He's totally inspiring as well. I love looking at MIKU cigar box guitars. I think he's from Finland. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But I just watched a video of his headstocks that he does, and he does these beautiful inlaid headstocks. Rod's guitars, or Rob's guitars. Oh gosh, there's a fella on Instagram that I follow, and years ago he was doing these really rustic style cigar box guitars, and I'm totally inspired by what he does. He doesn't do them anymore. He's got other interests and things that he does. But every now and again, when I'm feeling like, oh, I want to go and get some inspiration, I'll definitely go back and go through his Instagram account and look at his old pictures of the guitars he did and get some inspiration there. So grab little bits of inspiration. Just because you see me doing things a particular way, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily right for you. But what might be cool is if you see something that I do that you like, by all means borrow from that borrow from someone else, borrow from this person, borrow from that person, put it all together, and build your own masterpiece. You know, if I look at this guitar, this is the electroacoustic fretless one that I built a few days ago. If I look at this and I think, where are my inspirations for this? I could point out, I could definitely point out quite a few. I'd be looking at Shane Spiel for, you know, burning in the fret markings, you know, that type of thing. Del Puckett for not being anal about the type of timber I use for the neck. You know, I look at the bridge, for example, with the fret wire in it. That would be Mike Snowden. You know, this is a really simple construction of build. So I could definitely say I've definitely pulled some inspiration from Glenn, you know, Glenn Watt, who's back on YouTube's now. So, you know, there's so many inspirations out there for you guys to go and have a look at. So borrow bits and pieces. Check out all the videos that you can. You know, DB Custom Guitars, I think, did a video about 10 years ago, which just blew my mind. He did laminated timbers and things like that for the neck. I know Rob Roble does that as well. There's so much inspiration out there. So my suggestion is, look at and check out as many Facebook pages as you possibly can for that inspiration. Look at violin makers, look at guitar makers, look at ukulele makers, look at anyone who does any form of woodwork, anything that could be interesting, and borrow little bits from that. And when you take little bits from here and you take another little bit from there and a little bit from there, all of a sudden, when you look at the guitar that you've built, you look at that and you go, well, hey, I built that. That looks like me. I did that one. You know, so grab your inspiration where you can get your inspiration from, you know. I know we started talking fret work, but you know, we're unscripted here. This is just what we do. But yeah, there's a lot of inspiration. So just in this guitar that I'm working on here, yeah, I've pulled ideas from Del Puckett as well. But I don't do my piezos the same way Del does. I don't use hot glue or do recesses or anything like that. This'll the piezo that I'll use on this one is going to get glued directly to the underside with super glue. I don't use hot glue. It's just, it doesn't work here in Australia. It melts and things fall apart. So you know, that's going to be a cool guitar. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit that like button. Go and check out the YouTube, the Cigar Box Guitar podcast. I have changed the name of the podcast because I want to interview people, not just builders. I want to interview people and introduce people who are not necessarily builders but players to the podcast channel. So please go and check out the podcast if you haven't already. It would be awesome to get some feedback from you guys. There's a lot of back issues. We're did a lot of interviews with a lot of really cool cats back in the day, and I'm hoping this year that we're going to actually get up off our bums and interview some really cool people coming up soon. I was waiting to try and buy some more equipment to do the podcast or podcasting equipment, but frankly, the longer it takes me to do that, the longer it's taking me to actually even think about doing it. So screw it. I'm just going to record it on my phone and just go lo-fi. I mean, it's a Cigar Box guitar, isn't it? It's not hi-fi. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Go out there and build something. Go and have some fun. It's been Adam Harrison from Birdwood Guitars. If you're looking for some Cigar Box guitar parts, please don't hesitate to go and check out cbgpartsaustralia.com.au. If you're here in Australia or New Zealand and you're interested in ordering some parts, Cigar Box guitar parts, I am now doing a small selection of parts that I love. handmade piezo units and things like that. So check it out. Any feedback, if there's anything that isn't there and you'd like to see it, please let me know. All right, it's been 15 minutes of me yammering on, so have a great day. Bye.